Thanks so much for streaming with us. Well, Alex Murdaugh's double murder trial is drawing to a close as the defense calls its final witnesses to the stand today. The disbarred attorney spent 2 days testifying in his own defense last week. He admitted to a number of lies, including where he was the night his wife and son were murdered on his family's South Carolina estate. Joining me now, ABC's Eva Pilgrim, who's live outside the courthouse in Wattleboro, has been there since the beginning, and ABC News legal contributor Channa Lloyd also weighing in. So, Eva, just bring us the latest color and action from the courtroom.
Well, Kara, we had 2 experts that testified this morning, and we are expecting the defense to call one more witness before they rest their case that is supposedly going to be a member of the Murdaugh family. But these 2 experts that were on the stand this morning painted a very different scene of the crime than what we had heard from the state. One big glaring difference that we heard from was how Paul Murdaugh was killed, that he was killed with a close contact gunshot wound, meaning the barrel of the gun was touching the top of his head when he was killed. And the other interesting thing that came out today as well was the idea that Maggie Murdaugh was looking at her shooter when she was killed. And then a huge difference between the defense's case and the state, this idea that there were 2 shooters, not just one, that it didn't make sense. The state experts, the defense experts saying that it would have been clunky to be carrying 2 long rifles around, especially because that blackout rifle that was used to kill Maggie Murdaugh would have had more shots available to it to be able to fire more rounds. So why would that person have used a different weapon? It would have made much more sense to have just one weapon, coming to the conclusion that there were 2 shooters instead of 1, Kira.
And Eva, jurors are set to visit Murdaugh's Moselle estate, right, where the murders took place, and that's going to happen before they deliberate. So let's just talk about the impact of what this visit could do and what they're hoping to learn from it.
Well, you heard the defense mention that they want the jurors to see where it happened so they can see how close everything was to each other, the spatial relationship to it. But you also heard the defense's expert witnesses talking today about remnants of the crime scene that are still there, pellets that are lodged in the top of the door frame, things like that that they can see that will help paint a picture of this crime scene and how this all happened, Kara.
And Channa, the jury is on track to start deliberating this week. What do you think they're discussing right now, and how quickly do you think this could move?
Well, let's remember, technically, they're not supposed to be discussing the case until they are sent into the deliberation room. But what they are thinking about is going to be the points that they have on either end. If they're leaning towards an acquittal, they want to hear more about the things that they are going to allow them to have this alternate theory. If we're talking about jurors that are leaning towards a conviction, they're going to be listening for the smaller items that they kind of weren't sure about. They're going to be looking to verify those things, especially when they go to the Moselle property.
And so, Channa, did taking the stand last week, you think, after we watched so many hours, a couple days, it was pretty intense, of Murdaugh, taking the stand in his own defense, did it help or hurt him? What do you think?
I don't think it helped him at all. I think it hurt him. Substantively, he didn't have anything of value to bring to this case. All he could state was that he had lied about stating he was there. He lied about a number of other things, and that he committed these financial crimes. Now, if there was anything to be gained by him taking the stand, is he may have had a long enough time to connect with some of the jurors, because there are going to be jurors that were teetering and wanted to hear from him, and they may feel that what he gave them on the stand was enough to look towards a defense theory of an alternate shooter.
Yeah, point well made. And Eva, what do you think came from today's testimony from that medical doctor who actually specializes in forensic pathology?
Well, Kara, it was very clear that the jurors found that expert to be very credible. He listed off his resume, basically, and everyone was quite captivated by all the things that he had done. He also did a pretty good job of explaining in simple terms the things that he found from looking at the pathology report and why his differed in one area than the pathologist that the state had brought. But I think the the big thing that this pathologist brought was this idea of how Paul was killed, that gunshot wound, close contact to the head. For those jurors, they're going to, if they believe his recollection of how this occurred, they're going to have to believe that Alex Murdaugh put the gun physically to his son's head and shot him. If he is guilty. And that, I think, is what the defense was trying to paint, was just how brutal this crime was. We saw a lot of jurors cringing. Those experts this morning were showing a lot of graphic pictures that are under seal, that will not be released to the public. And we saw the jurors really struggling, many of them, to look at those pictures. And I think that is what the defense was trying to do with particularly that witness, was to remind these jurors this was a gruesome, brutal crime that destroyed who these people were.
And Channa, what will you be watching for as the defense calls its final witnesses?
I'll be looking to see, seeing as it's a family member, if they can bring any other knowledge about this family, their interactions. It's a defense witness, so we are assuming that they're going to be friendly towards the defendant, but looking to see what they bring as far as the family dynamic, what their state of affairs were at that time, because that's likely what they're going to be there to testify about.
All right, Eva Pilgrim, Channa Lloyd, appreciate you both. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.